Hello, I'm the official name reader. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today we're looking at the last of the Hoenn starters, Mudkip. What's his name? Marshtomp. I had to really think about that. I forgot. Mudkip, Marshtomp, and Swampert. Alright, I guess we'll acknowledge Bermuda. So that's assumingly here being based off the Bermuda Triangle, which is pretty infamous for where ships go and just never come back. It's okay as a nickname if you want to, because we've also seen nicknames like Alcatraz before, and I have no problem with names based off of real life locations. I think that's fun and cool too. I personally wouldn't do it, but it's totally fine. I'm gonna acknowledge this because I saw it when opening the spreadsheet. Yes, we get it. It's a very stupid, unfunny joke that was beaten to death for some reason. I don't know why it even existed or what it came from, but it was always dumb. It was never funny. It's not a good nickname. Okay, so maybe that's where I got it from, because I personally named mine after Mudvayne the band, and I don't remember why I came up with that. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw something not quite this, but something similar to where it was like, oh my god, how did I not think of that before? So that's what I personally use is Mudvayne. I'm not changing it for anything, but yeah, it's a good one. I like naming stuff after bands, and it fits because it's a mud Pokemon. Also on the subject of swampy things, Torvis, Metroid Prime 2. That's also a good, acceptable nickname. I don't know if I'd say I like the name enough to really want to use it on a Pokemon, but hey, I'm cool with it. Especially any and all Metroid love, because Nintendo sure fucking doesn't. So here's where it's also a little bit weird for me, because Mudkip line is very clearly based off of swamp-based things. And instead of naming things after swampy things, people are going for Bermuda Triangle and Niagara Falls, which feels weird. Now, when thinking about Niagara Falls, my first brain jumps to, like, Sea King, because, you know, that's an easy Pokemon to identify that learns Waterfall. It learns it leveling up. But the thing with Sea King is it's a freshwater Pokemon. It's not going to be found in the sea, despite its name. So, I don't know, that was just a weird thought. When thinking about Niagara Falls, think about waterfalls, and it's like, okay, well, what's going to be found in that kind of location? And I'm overthinking, but it works as a nickname. I'm just an idiot. Landslide, there's a generic ground-type nickname you could throw into anybody if you wanted to. It works perfectly fine, no complaints here. Tsunami, there's another generic, well, not another. There's a generic water-type nickname you could throw onto anyone. You're going to see this for lots of Pokemon, lots of water-type Pokemon nickname videos. There you go. Throw on the bingo card. At least this guy is thinking about where a Swampert would actually be. And as far as a name, I don't necessarily have a problem with it either. It's not a bad-sounding name. Flash Flood, there's another generic water-type nickname. Now I can say another because it's two. Yeah, you could throw that onto anyone. I think ideally the faster the water type, the better it is. Swampert speed isn't terrible, and then when you have Swift Swim and Rain, because Mega Swampert that you can't use in Gen 8, then it becomes even faster. What's the fastest water type? Okay, so I'm not sure what Hiroshima has to do with Swampert, but there's another location-based nickname. Gotta make fun of this guy for, like, missing the most obvious thing in the world by a mile, because Lord knows Kappa is, like, insanely fucking popular and well-known, and this doofus thinks it's from Greek mythology. You might want to do a quick Google search, brother. Everybody in the world knows it's Japanese. I feel like I've actually seen Brosidon before. I don't remember where, but I'm pretty sure we've seen it before, and I will say it's at least a better alternative than the painfully generic Poseidon, which Poseidon and Neptune are probably some of the most common nicknames in Pokemon, just period, next to Tesla. Shrek I probably should have seen coming a mile away, but this is the first time I've seen it, and Shrek used to be a thing I was really into and was one of my favorite movies of all time, but the internet ruined that too. I'd like to thank you all for taking the happiness I had in life and taking it away from me. Swamp Thing, I'm kind of okay with, because I know that's based off of, I think it's DC Comics, so that's fine, but the name just itself is kind of boring, but at the same time, I think it's easily enough identified to where people are going to either figure it out pretty quickly or they're going to know what you're talking about immediately. Okay, I like the idea of Bogmire. I don't know if I have that written down on my list of, hey, I should give something like this a nickname, but I like this because, like, firstly, it's cool because Luigi's Mansion reference, and also because it's just a good name, and it's something that I would want to put on a Pokemon. Obviously, you're going to want to go for a Ghost type first, but thinking about Swampert, that's not a bad idea either, because you're playing off the literal name of it, so it kind of fits, the name fits the nature, so I'm okay with that. But in general, I really like the idea of Bogmire as a name, and I would like to find a Ghost that I could put that on. I guess we'll acknowledge Solomon Grundy since we technically saw a Swamp Thing as well. I'm more versed in Marvel than I am in DC. I recognize the name, and that's basically the extent of it. I think he showed up in one of the Injustice games, but if someone wants to throw out in the comments whether or not they think that's fitting, that'd be appreciative. Okay, this is a little bit more tolerable than some of the other things we've seen. So Poseidon, that's the most generic water type nickname period, next to Neptune, which is the same fucking person. Water Hazard I know we've seen in the past, and I like that name. We've also seen Biohazard as well. I know he did that for like Nido King, but didn't do it for Nido Queen, even though it's the same fucking thing almost. Rainster's god-awful. Hydroshock has fuck all to do with him because he's not an electric type. It's just, that's also not even a thing. People don't say that. Okay, an Aftershock for ground, that's where he's getting the shock part from, but most people think shock as in electricity or BuzzFeed articles because you won't believe this shocking thing. Everything is so shocking on the fucking internet. Fuck you all. Cascade is fine, we've seen that in the past. Aquabuff is stupid. Strongha is legally retarded. And Splashdown, I don't know if you've seen this in the past. I feel like we have. I don't necessarily hate it just because of The Incredibles. But of course, he doesn't give credit to The Incredibles for that nickname he stole. I'm also kind of getting tired of seeing Axel and Axolotl because, again, that's what it fucking is. You don't name your Meowth cat. Why are there so many people out there like this? It blows my mind. Do you give birth to your children and name them human? No, you don't, because that's fucking stupid. I've also seen Popeye an unreasonable amount, and like, I get it because, hi, look at me, I'm big, strong, and I'm also associated with the water, but I just don't think that's that good of a name. Like, not for Swampert at the very least. Like, I think if you're going to do that, Poliwrath would probably make a little bit more sense because it's a fighting type, or just any fighting type in general out there. Or hell, I would accept it for Delmise because it's an anchor, and Popeye's got the anchor tattoo. Or, like we saw in Blaziken's episode, Popeye could work there too for chicken. Alright, yet again, another location. Locations seem to be very popular with Swampert. Don't know why, but every now and again we have an episode where there's an unreasonable theme for some rhyme or reason. I was actually just thinking this a second ago, but I didn't want to say it because we'd be repeating it every single time we did an episode based on the starters. But yes, you could always use the Zelda goddesses for any of the starter trio because they always follow the color scheme of red, blue, and green. And always the same typing. Okay, I've reached the bottom. The starters are always some of the hardest things to cover because they're also insanely popular because everybody has to pick one and everybody needs a nickname for one, so these always ends up being very long episodes. Anyway, checking the spreadsheet, and there's nothing interesting, just stuff we've already seen and acknowledged before, so I'm just gonna close that out, say fuck it. Alright, so going over, there was a bunch of locations from Bermuda to Niagara to other places I don't even remember. I don't remember the other two, but I'm pretty sure we saw at least 4. So, if you can think of one, sure, it's fine. I really do like Bogmire. I think that one's good. I'm going to stick with the one I've got and probably see if I can find a ghost type. If you could think of a ghost type that you think Bogmire will fit, let me know and I'll go ahead and use it. I like Torvis because I'm a Metroid sucker, and yeah. And then one I saw in a previous episode, and I made sure to write down for this one, was someone put Mudblood, like Harry Potter, and I was like, oh, that's clever. So you could do that, and I feel like that's the reason I got inspired for Mud Vein, was because I saw Mud Blood, because blood veins, you get it. But Mud Vein is the one I use based off the band, so I didn't come up with, not entirely, I definitely drew inspiration from somewhere, I just don't remember, and I'm pretty sure it came from Mud Blood. But yeah, any other ideas you have for Swampert nicknames, provide in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the ones you think are good. Yeah,